Welcome to the Undiluted Corner, where truth is our refrain. Relationships, health, and wealth, we're breaking every chain. Grab a seat, join the talk. In this corner, we unite. The Undiluted Corner, where we shed the light in the Undiluted Corner. We explore the three relationships, health and wealth. Set the spirits free, tune and turn up. Let's embark on this ride, the Undiluted Corner, where perspectives coincide. From love's embrace to health, grace, and wealth in every form. In the Undiluted Corner, authenticity is the norm. We'll laugh, we'll learn, we'll share it all. In this lively space, join the conversation. Let's make life's journey a thrill and chase. This is the Undiluted Corner. Raw truth, real conversations.
Welcome to the Undiluted Corner. This is your 8th episode of the best male podcast in Jamaica. The podcast dedicated to improving health, wealth, and relationships for men. I am Ali, alongside my usual erudite co-host, Andy. What going on, General? Yeah, man. Yeah. So, Andy, before we get into the topic tonight, we have to bless up with two guests that we have joining us.
Yeah, man.
So tonight we have Krishana. Hi, Krishana.
Hi.
And we have Anissa. Hi, Anissa.
Hi. Hi, everybody.
All right, great. So, our topic tonight: do women really want men to be themselves? But before we jump into the topic, Andy, tell the people them where them can find it.
Yeah, man. As usual, guys, we are the Undiluted Corner on YouTube. On Instagram, we are the _undiluted_corner. That's the _undiluted_corner. And please feel free to reach out to us via email at the Undiluted Corner, the number 7 at gmail.com.
Virginia, but I draw like Arsenal in the pre-season,
But I start me up in a brother.
All right, so we're now going to keep viewers waiting and things. So we're going to just jump right into it,
Yeah.
So let me start with Anissa. Anissa, do women really want men to be themselves? Tell me something. You know, always I say, just be yourself. Do you really
talk regular money now? We talk like
Wow, Alex, you did that.
Just them normally set up, man, So, Anissa, make you know. I mean, you are ladies. You really want men to be themselves? Tell me.
As a general answer, I'm gonna say yes. Yes. But there's a lot of follow-up questions that can come, like, can women actually handle the truth?
Yeah, man.
That's another question.
But
we want men to
I
be
guess
themselves, but can we actually handle it?
Yeah, man. Go on more into that, man.
Yeah, go down and come more in.
Yeah, man. You just make the kicker start, boy.
When I say can we actually handle the truth, there are issues on both sides. We don't have to go into the gender blaming and the gender bias and man a dog and woman a this and all of that. But I've seen situations where a woman will say to a man, all right, tell me who you are, show me your personality, all of these things. And then when the man turns out to not be what she expected, she cries. Then what I say, the boy who cried wolf, or in this case, the woman will cry wolf. So it's really a matter of, can you actually handle the man being himself? Can you handle his good? Can you handle his bad? Can you handle the ups? Can you handle the downs? Because nobody is perfect. So yes, we want them to be themselves, but can we actually handle it?
Krishana, what you say?
So I short answer is yes, but I look at it from a different perspective, especially as somebody who's about to get married.
Congratulations!
Thank you.
Welcome to the club.
So I don't think me saying be yourself is a license or for me to stick around when you are yourself. But I think that in any relationship, friendships, and business partnerships, um, romantic relationships, you want to ensure that you and the person that you're with shares the same morals and the same values, and that you are on the same page. And it is a challenge to do that if persons are pretending to be who they are not. And so a lot of times we see people, the chase, that part of the relationship where you're chasing, and you want something, so you do what you need to do to get to where you want to get. And when you get there,
To impress.
the mask
Yeah,
falls off.
impressed.
Yeah, and
Mhm.
then when the mask falls off, you end up having issues. And this is both sides of the coin too. This is not just men, but it can be applied generally. But since we're on the topic, and so I really do think that even though it's not really just as one dimensional as saying, can you be yourself? But there are layers to that add a little bit more coloring and a little bit more flavor to the pot in terms of how you end up and how things are perceived.
I
Yeah.
mean, I kind of have a follow up to what Anissa mentioned earlier, right? Because Anissa mentioned that we tend to ask men to, well, you guys tend to ask men to be themselves.
Not you
Um,
guys.
well, you guys as in women.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
women.
Draw breaks the Andy. Me not just want to come here and talk from the point of uno self,
Yeah.
You know that little thing they want to normally sneak in say, well, this don't applies to me. Me know say you don't have no friend. Me know say you don't have no family or no bread back down and see how the thing go already. So me no want to come here come say, well, this don't applies to me.
Yeah, so
Because
tonight,
me know the
tonight,
thing work.
we attack on behalf of lady.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
they go know. So generally, as Anissa said, when women ask men to be themselves, the man now turn out to be something that you don't really like, so you get disappointed. No, I'm thinking disappointment would be coming from a place of not getting what you expected. So is it a case where we kind of develop the expectation a little bit too early?
I would say so, yes. I would say a lot of times men try to form, I say, an image or a persona of, perhaps what they think the woman, might want. For example, as Krishana said, in the chase, you're trying to be something that you really cannot live up to. So
Yeah.
then when the woman sees that, because you can only carry on the facade for so long, when the woman actually sees that, she becomes disappointed and heartbroken. So yeah.
I have actually had that very thing happen to me, where I used to work in my younger years. I used to work at parties, and so there was a guy that met me at a party, and he met me, and I took a picture with him at the party, and he always had that picture, and it ended up that I met him again at another party. He asked me out, and we started dating. And throughout that very brief, very brief encounter, I don't think you can even call it a relationship. He was disappointed because he built up an idea of who I was supposed to be based on how I looked in his head, and
Okay.
yeah,
Appearance bias.
yeah, and it just did not work out because I guess I was a lot more relaxed than he had expected me to be, because I'm the type of person that, I really just have ebb and flow. And I guess he was looking for somebody a little bit more stocious. And I
Why
was
you being corporate all the time?
right. And so he built up this idea in his head that I was this type of person without actually giving me a chance to show him who I was. And
Yeah,
so that created some discontent within the, let's use the term relationship loosely. So I think that happens on both sides, where persons build up expectations of what a person should be or how they should behave, and you create this ideal partner in your head, and then you meet somebody expecting them to be that ideal partner, and they don't live up to your expectations, you become disappointed.
Yeah.
All right, so it's a very interesting point you raised there, Krishana, because I want delve deeper into that point, probe it some more. Isn't it the case sometime where a woman would meet a man? I mean, him tick a lot of the boxes, so she like him have the height, him probably have the income, and some of that stuff, but maybe he's a little bit brash or something else what she not like. But because because she already like him, that woman try to push him in a direction, poke and prod him in a direction that she would want him to be like, instead of really accepting him for who he actually is. Because sometimes you can actually like a person, and it's go across both gender, across the divide. Sometimes you can like a person for who you would want them to be, but you really don't want them to be themselves. You can weigh into that some more.
So I see where you're going, and I think that it really boils back down to your own perception. So it's basically you get an apple and you're trying to turn it into an orange.
Right.
They're even the same family, right?
Right.
They're the same genus. So how are you gonna do that? And so I find that a lot of breakdown in relationships comes from that, and it goes back to having unmet expectations. So I don't know, Anissa wants to weigh in a little bit more, but I've definitely seen where that becomes a very it's a very heavy burden to carry,
Yeah. You like the person, but you can't accept the person.
And
It's
not only that, communicating that, right? Communicating the unmet expectations that you're having, because a lot of us people, we hold people to some standards that them don't even know, so them not meet.
Yeah, them never set it for themselves.
Yeah.
You are asking them.
Yeah.
It's all in our
Yep.
heads, and then when we can't meet that level of expectations, or that person doesn't even meet an expectation that them never even know, so them supposed to meet, it becomes a problem.
Yeah.
So so it's a very serious thing, because back to the same story, I was being held to a standard that I didn't know I was supposed to try to meet. And so that becomes a very big challenge, because how can you hold me to something that I don't know exists?
Yep. Agreed.
You have anything to add on that?
I really do, because Krishana is bringing back some memories and some situations
Memories
that
don't live like people do.
bring up so much, memory lane, right down the memory lane. But I completely agree. I think unrealistic expectations can be fought by effective communication. Not just communication in and of itself, but effective communication. Because you see, sometimes we talk, and as we say, go through one ears, come out the other. In any kind of relationship, the friendship, the marriages, whatever it is, you have to have effective communication. You have these bars, as she said, and the person don't even know that they're supposed to meet it. Being somebody that's recently married, that's something that I'm learning. If you expect something, or you want something, or you have a certain need that needs to be met, you have to communicate it. We as women can't live in our head and say, oh, I'm supposed to read my mind, and I'm supposed to know, and him. Sometimes we cause our own pain, 9 out of 10 times we cause our own pain, our own dissatisfaction, because we have these things in our head, and the movies that we watch when we look a bit, and the romantic this and the love story that. And then when we get older and we realize that life is not like that, we disappoint ourselves because we did not communicate what we wanted from the get-go. So in all relationships, as I said, whether it's a friendship right up to marriages, you have to communicate what it is you want, what standards you set for yourself, and what you're expecting from the other person, and vice versa. Don't just be telling them what you want, and make it all about you. Try to listen to them too and see what they want as well. And if you don't match, then you don't match. Some persons are great friends, but maybe not great partners. That's another
Yep,
thing
yep, yep,
that we can think
yep.
about. There's a lot of people who, they're great friends, great best friends, but if you try to marry or even try to be in a relationship, you mash up everything.
Yeah, work.
I know
Yeah,
so
yeah,
many
yeah.
stories like that. So many stories like that. I had a friend in university. She was with a guy for, I think, the whole of university, basically. The whole of university. And the minute they said, all right, time for marriage, you graduate and everything mash up, because marriage came with a different level of expectation and different needs and different wants, and they didn't discuss those things beforehand. They just
Work,
said,
yeah.
oh, we work as boyfriend and girlfriend, so we're gonna work as husband and wife. And that wasn't the case. So we have to try to be as open and honest as we can, so that we can eliminate some of the hurt that we go through in life.
I like what you said, Anissa, especially when you mentioned the operative word being effective, because as you rightly say, a lot of times we have communication where it's not effective, and if you have to have communication, just to have communication sake, then it really don't make no sense. Um, but I mean, just to kind of add on a point that Ali mentioned earlier, when so given a scenario again, you met a guy, right, and him take off 80% of the boxes, because women have them checklists,
Yeah,
know
man.
which one to keep it still,
Yeah.
but now on a checklist, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So this guy him take off 80% of probably the more important stuff.
I know them have the laundry list long, my
Yeah,
boss.
and the laundry list long. So him take off majority of the boxes. But again, there are a few boxes where him not tick fully. Which again, you probably have a level of expectation to say, all right, I wonder him not have these, but we probably can live with those, because again, you probably now ever get 100% of what you're looking for, right? Wouldn't that in itself also bring a level of expectation where again you're probably being unfair to yourself in a way, because again you're not going to get everything. This person tick off most of the boxes, but then the boxes them where not tick is like create an expectation. So in a case like that, I don't know how you guys really decipher and as to what to do. This person have 80%, do I really work with it, or how you guys work with that part or a situation like that? Don't know which one of you want to take it.
There are a number of things that you unpack when you look at a situation like that, right? So I spoke earlier about you and the person sharing the same morals and the same values. The other thing is being realistic. Like, you are not perfect. None of us are perfect. So to expect perfection of someone, I think is crazy, right? So if we're living in the real world, not the world that Hollywood paint for us, and those influencer couple show us about couple goals, but we're living in the real world and we're being honest with ourselves. We must understand that relationships come with their own things, and people come with their own quirks and nuances and differences, and we're never going to find someone to fit into a box. And so if you're finding somebody to fit into a box, you might have to go check out my AI and see if them can create a one robot or something.
That's solid.
But then
That's solid.
the other part is something that there's something that you said that kind of brought that to mind is that oftentimes when we're looking for things in people, it's things that we aren't giving to ourselves.
Oh, big
Solid
part
And
point,
that thing.
yeah, it's the things that we don't give ourselves and the things that we are lacking. And so to just dial it back a little bit from even getting to a partner, a man or a woman, what are
Yes.
you giving to yourself and are you fulfilling your own needs? Because I believe that if you're able to fulfill your own needs, the expectations that you have of others, it changes.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
the
yeah.
level of weight and the
Yeah.
burden that you put on other people, that changes because you're not looking for someone to fulfill you anymore. You are fulfilled within yourself. You're just looking for somebody to share that with. And so it gives you a greater perspective in determining what things help you to align with somebody, what things help you to decide if you can build a future together. So if I'm somebody who love to stay in a debt, but you don't like for borrow money, like how is our relationship going to
Bro,
work if me run around and pick up bills everywhere and people around me don't say we owe them bill collector at the gate and this person live on a zero budget, like they don't want to owe anybody at all. So things like that that actually have an impact on your relationship, because at the end of the day, there's a saying, you treat a relationship like a business. And so like if you really sit down and say, would I go into business with this person, that's really what you're asking yourself. You're investing in something with this person, so are they able to meet the requirements that you need to help the business of your relationship thrive? That's really what it boils down to. So there's so many layers that you really have to consider when you're looking at that question.
All right. This is the undiluted corner, so we keep it unvarnished, undiluted, yeah?
yes.
And one of the question, and me I gonna be a little bit provocative, because you have a lot of men who, struggle with women, no matter how them be themselves, and no matter how women tell them to be themselves, right? Now, based on experience, my personal experience, and also what I have observed, there are certain qualities when you look across the board and you have data to show it, most women like it. So, for example, most women want that from a man. So, for example, a woman wants a man who is confident, not arrogant, but confident in his abilities, right? Confident as a leader. Most women want a man who is very, very competent at a skill. Women tend to find something like that very, very attractive.
Really.
I mean, women want men who have some level of charisma, can evoke good emotions inside of themselves. A woman naturally will find a man who dress well, um, more appealing and so on. Now, a lot of men really don't tick much of these boxes, but them continue here, being yourself, be yourself, be yourself. And the more them be themselves and the more them get shunned is the more depressed them become. So you have some man because of that now them fall in what you call the the MGTOW movement. Men go in their own way. A lot of them involuntarily celibate. So what would be your advice for men like these? Any one of you can take that one.
You want to go, Anissa, or you want me to take it?
Anyone can take a crack, man. You two.
Um, um, my answer is not gonna be too long. If it is that you are being true to yourself, I think society places a lot of, as Krishana said earlier, some unrealistic expectations, especially on men. So if it is that you are being yourself, if it is that you are being true to who you are and you're showing these ladies that, okay, this is who I am, this is what I have, this is where I can meet you, as we would say, this is what I bring to the table, and you're still getting shut down, you're still being rejected. There's only so much that you can do and no more. You know,
But me I go
because if
challenge you
these
a little
women
bit on this.
want you to be yourself, you know,
I want to
you're
challenge you a
gonna
little
be
bit.
It's a little bit different than that though, because
I want to challenge you a little bit. You don't believe so if
Just
you don't believe
challenge
so
me
if a
how. All
man,
right, challenge me
if a man
how.
at 5 feet, if a man at 5 feet 5, I mean
Mm-hmm.
eat 3 cheeseburgers a day, weigh close to
Mm-hmm.
400 pounds. I mean him
Mm-hmm.
dress very, very tacky. Probably him have a little money. Probably him have a little money if he's spending so him see a nice girl and him try
Mm-hmm.
lead with him wallet, but it now work for him. And him, I
Mm-hmm.
mean, you see the thing about it, you always have a girl where you know him always can go talk to, because you know women like attention, so drop in a friend zone and the girl where him a go to I tell him say, don't worry,
Yourself.
Kemar, be yourself.
Yeah.
Just be yourself. Make sure see a good girl out there for you. Instead I tell the man say, yo brother, if you go to gym, if you dress better, if you do certain
Mm-hmm.
things, it automatically make you more attractive.
Which
So
is
may I
him not being
challenge,
himself.
yeah, which is not being himself, you know. So you believe, may I challenge you a little bit, you believe, so just being yourself all the time really works? May I challenge you?
I if being yourself all the time really works,
Hmm?
I'm gonna say yes. I'm gonna stand by it and I'm gonna say yes because again,
Charlie
unrealistic
Beans is something.
expectations is
so I
what
really
will
need to
cause
jump in here.
Yeah man, run in Christian now
I'm
I
man.
need
gonna say
to jump
yes.
in.
Exactly.
Because if you're
Um,
not yourself, you're gonna get hurt, and the
so
person's gonna get
one,
hurt.
yes, I agree. Be genuine. Be yourself. Unapologetically yourself. I'm not
Even
this.
if it now work.
However, there are levels to this, right?
Yeah?
Somebody who believes
Yeah
in
man, you draw for
growth
this
and
claim no pass
development
no my
and
friend.
improvement, being
You draw for the caveat.
yourself don't mean say you be one version of yourself from now till 2020, because the truth is that as human beings, where we are now and what brought we to the stage
Yes.
that we are will
Yes.
not be sufficient to take us to where we want to go. And so we
Growth
have
is
to
very
continually
important.
assess the gaps that we have as individuals, assess
Yes.
what we are lacking in contrast to where we want to be, and then make the changes, or else we're not gonna see results. Like that's
But
doing the
you're not, yes. Once
whole
you make
time
changes,
it
you know,
takes
you're no longer.
to change.
Mm-hmm.
But
You're
So
no
you
Christian,
are
longer
because
who you
you're
were.
able to be
different version of
yourself, but
yourself.
elevate, right?
Right.
So
Because
you
all right,
grow
I'll
from
use myself
everything.
as an example.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in a very healthy, happy relationship right now. The relationship that I was in before that was toxic. Me talk about
Toxic
like
love.
toxic, like toxic. Like it was
Toxic
not good.
masculinity.
And I came out of that relationship and I was vicious. Like some people, things that we used to do some man, I'm not gonna lie to you. Because like I
You're
used to treat
vicious like a Bengal tiger.
the person I got with in the relationship after I broke out of that relationship and I spoke to somebody briefly, like just for a couple months. And
Yeah.
he's like, him come back to me and say, he didn't mean it when he said this. Or he said that,
Yeah.
like, why did we break up? Like, him never really understand. But really and truly, the problem was me. The problem was inside of myself, and I treated him that way because it was a reflection of where I was as a person at that time.
Yeah.
Now, in order to foster a relationship that is healthy, that's gonna take me to a space where I want to be, I had to change certain things. Was I not being myself then, and am I not being myself now? I have evolved. So where I'm at different points doesn't mean I'm not being myself. It just means I'm continuously improving upon who I am as myself. And so it really boils down back to that personal accountability. Are you taking responsibility for your outcomes? Are you being true to yourself as a man as to why you are where you are? Do you walk with that chip on your shoulder that leads you to believe just because you have little money in your pocket, you feel like you're automatically
Lead with your wife.
entitled to something?
Entitled.
Or even if you have
Yes.
gym body and you have money and you can lead with your pocket, you feel like that's enough to grab somebody of substance. And that is why some man end up with the dregs in at the bottom of the barrel, dressed in nice, pretty clothes, and then when them cut them throat, them fall. Because as long as they take up persons who are reflective of where we are inside, and we don't even acknowledge and understand that that's what we're doing.
So
Yes,
So that
sir.
was preached a while ago.
so,
Yes.
Shoshana, if just
Yes.
to make sure, say I follow exactly what you're saying. Being yourself doesn't mean that you can't change. I guess also what you mentioned is that you changing shouldn't really be changing to suit somebody else, but really you changing to elevate yourself, making a
Precisely.
better, giving a better account of yourself, looking at your life, see what needs to work on, and making that change that will propel you to be a better person, and
Right.
not really changing for woman or for man.
Right, because the changes that I changed, it wasn't because of a relationship. Me just realized I did very bitter, and those things suffocate you in your soul. Like you feel dark inside because you know that this is not who I was born to be, and
Yeah.
so you want to go to your bed at night time and sleep in peace. And you're like, you really have to sit down sometime and be honest with yourself. Like, what am I doing? What may I do wrong? I
Yeah.
remember
Yeah.
when my fiance and I got together, like we just started talking, and he was very like he's very calm. He's that type of person where really don't make nothing bother him. And I remember one day I went to pick him up from work, and he was in a staff meeting, and the meeting went over, and when I had to wait for him to finish, and when him coming in the car,
The amount of petrol you let off.
and me, I
The
remember
amount of
this
petrol.
I was like, yeah, me away. And I was very vicious. And I looked at him and he never answered. And like I looked at him and I know this is gonna sound really bad, but I saw that he was hurt and I saw that he had feelings. Like this is a human being with feelings, and I'm treating them this way and I'm hurting his feelings. And it sounds really bad, but a lot of times because of society too, how we're programmed that men don't have feelings and them just take it on the chin and them keep on moving, you
Yeah.
don't realize how the impact of your behavior as a woman sometimes can affect your partner, a
Yeah, man.
man. If,
Yeah, man.
and so it's something that I've had to be very cognizant of. And that behavior and those kind of responses is something that I had to grow away from. Was I being myself then? Am I being myself now when I don't respond that way? Yes, I am. And as a mother to a boy child now, I have a responsibility to show him that this kind is a kind of behavior were acceptable from a woman, because we teach them that too.
Yep.
And so
Yep.
yep, so it's really something that I think needs more attention, because a lot of times we don't even look at it as to how we are impacting upon the men in our lives just by how we
Solid,
behave.
Mijay.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man.
Solid point, brother. Heavy point, Again, you remember when we did the episode with Punisher, and we said look like Punisher walk with a bag of cement. He come like
Yeah.
empower with cement to car.
Yeah, man.
Ladies, me
Lead
like
settings,
this.
man.
Yeah, man. Me like the points coming out. We really like the points coming out because and when Ali brought this topic to me, I was saying, boy, it is a strange one, because again, a lot of times I may talk for all of the man. We should not do it still enough, but us men, a lot of things that we would do is stemming from women. You get me? Probably if you get the attention of women, probably if you increase your scope, whatever it be. Most times it's coming from the perspective of what can I do to impress a woman or whatever. Which again, sometimes it now become draining, because again, you're making changes not because you want to, but just because you want to attract probably a different type of woman, or a certain amount of woman or whatever. You get me? So I'm glad you ladies are really just kind of putting out points out here to make us men know that yes, change is required, but not making the change. Don't really make the change because of you guys, but make the change because of us. What we want to do for ourselves, how we see us being better persons or better husbands, better fathers, whatever. The change should start from us. So I
Yeah.
really like the points, ladies.
Yeah.
And I think it's also important just to add to that, because what we accept as human beings teach other persons how to treat us. So if you accept certain behaviors from your spouse, you're telling your spouse that this is okay to treat me that way. And so you have to really have certain standards for yourself. You have to know what you want out of life, because when you do have standards and you do know what you want, then you know what you don't want, and you know what you're not willing to accept. And so it makes it easier to weed out the garden and know what's the roses from what's weeds, where the dandelions where you need to go throw out. Because far too often we accept things that we really should not be accepting, and then we complain when we did take it to begin with, and we accept it.
Yep.
All right. So I want to touch on another delicate one. Again, being self. Honesty. I reason with a lot of women. Them tell me I want a man who is completely honest. They want the man to be undiluted like the undiluted corner. Yeah. No. Me I go share a small experience of what me had some time ago. I was with a girl and she asked me, I was very puzzled by the question. She asked me if there was one thing about her that I could adjust. What would that be? And me try put a smile on my face, because me believe say the dog go left. And so boy, mother get a little pump and pump up the boobs a little bit bigger. And I thought she took it in good faith, because it was a general thing. But me I tell you, every little thing the girl said, well, maybe if my boobs was just a little bit bigger. every little issue me and I have, well, maybe if my boobs were just so. Me I question it and me I say, you didn't really want me to be honest, but you're the same person who say, hey, be honest at all times. So what that do, a lot of men not wanting to offend tend to not necessarily be completely honest. Anyone here want to take that? Anyone here can take it and run with it. Do you want men to always be honest?
Always.
Well, I know you said I should clear speak for other women, but for me it's a yes. I do want honesty, but honesty don't give permission to be brutal, and I think that's the difference. Like there are ways to say what you bring across what you bring.
It's the way how you say it then.
Right.
It's not what you say, it's how you say it.
And also it goes back to communication, because I can come to you and say, what's one thing you would change about me? Be honest. And I'm thinking something personality-wise, and then you start call out something physically where God give me, when we never have the control over. And then me vex, because I never that me ask you.
I never that you think about. Never that you think about, But you ask me a question unmitigated, unbridled, and latitude. Me have fully the scope, this broad.
So people think honesty is brutality, like just going for the jugular, telling you like it is. But there are ways, a little soft skills.
So in that case, you're saying, well, how should I have said it? You are saying that I should say, well, being buxomed would have being a little bit more buxom would have always make me smile even more, or you'd make me smile being a little bit more buxom.
How we fix Alice,
exactly. How do fix my situation now?
So for me,
I
fix your situation, I'd say just don't go physically in the first place.
But sometimes
don't go physically in the first place. But because when you go to
I guess also sometimes people have their own insecurities too, So if I did that, something much insecure about for a while,
Exactly. And then you go right here
and you highlight it, just made it worse.
It's like you coming to me, Alice, that saying, what's one thing you would change about me? I wish you could see.
What people tell me that already.
Like,
People tell me that already. No, Christian. People tell me that already, man.
alright, you know, so when you can do that, but when you can do about it, my point
But
Oh
is that
my God.
So in a case
Oh
like
my
that,
God.
right?
calling out something that somebody has little to no control over, kind of brutal to begin with, because we
You
shall
know,
Yeah.
ask me when me would have changed.
But should it be though? Should it really be if
Yeah.
if you know that this is your situation?
Mhm.
I guess it come with a level of maturity.
Yeah,
because
It does. It
Yeah,
does.
because if
Because
you know
just
that
honestly, if you don't ready for
you're-
the answer, don't ask the question.
don't ask.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right.
Because
Yeah.
you know that this is your
Right.
shortfall. I'm thinking at some point you will come to accept this. Because I mean, going to school, everybody used to say me head long. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And of course he used to bother me, but
You only have my seat there.
I'm the whole of my area. You know what I mean?
Hey.
But I mean, after coming to accept that, I mean, you even start call yourself long head. You know what I mean? Because now you accept that. Now, me probably can't ask somebody what them would have changed about me if me never even really want them comment nothing about my head still, because
But you know, it's funny because I've actually had that conversation with my.
You serious?
Yeah, I ask him things, I want to know, but it's never gone to like physical stuff, you know.
But how me did that meds it?
But
How me
me
did that
want
meds
to
it?
know.
Look here.
Why
How me
not?
meds it? May I say yo, but you know them say different strokes for different folks. But I'm looking at it and say she could have pre it in a positive way, you know, because she does say well in spite of the fact that I am not buxom as Alistair would like. Alistair choose me over many more buxom girls because the reality is that I mean there were girls at the time who were more buxom, but I am someone who is stimulated by your mindset and your personality, and
Yeah.
she had better personality and better mindset than all. So how I look at things, you know, I weigh everything in the balance, and it wasn't that big of a deal. I mean, it would nice, it would be
it would be
nice,
nice,
but
yeah. It'll be a
So,
plus.
yeah,
I
exactly.
manage people for a living, Alistair. You know that.
Mhm.
And
Yeah,
one
man.
one of the first lessons I learned is perception is reality. So to her, anyway, she perceived the situation, that's what's real to her, right? And so
real.
you look at it as a part as a part at a at a particular way, but for her, she's looking at it as another way, and her way is her reality, and it's a slight she gets. So
Yeah,
being emotionally intelligent,
intelligent.
kind of step outside of yourself, because I know you're an intelligent man, emotionally intelligent man. So I know that you can step out of your side and see why somebody would have. Because as you say,
Of course. I mean, me totally understand it.
59. But again, it goes back to the thing like, do not ever ask a question if you don't really want to know the answer, because you're gonna get the
Yeah.
answer. Just like how them said, don't go dig for nothing because you shall find it. If you're looking for heartbreak, you will find it.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm over here laughing because something just popping on my head still, because and I mean we're undiluted, so I will just put it out here.
Yeah.
Now, we as men, you find that we tend to have well, a lot of men tend to have insecurities when it come on to size. See? Now, again, Alistair, more you put yourself in the Empress shoes. Suppose she did ask, suppose you did ask her, what is one thing you would have changed for me? And she said, boy, Ali, I think you could have done well with little more size still, You wouldn't feel away about it.
Why, man? I tell you, me would have wonder what go on if me enough. You understand?
You would have stressed
Me
out,
would have wonder if me enough still, cause you don't know, say, I mean, as men, we undiluted. We penis a part of our ego, so
Yeah.
would I feel like
I'm
me
gonna
would
use
have
that
feel
example, but I didn't want to go there. So thank you.
understand.
It's undiluted, man.
I
So we
mean,
can't
it's
go anywhere, man.
undiluted. Me understand. I mean, why it came across the way it did, and it is in the same breath. You know, you would have people. You know, them have a scale now. Everybody talk about the perfect 10. You know, the scale, and I mean, me as a guy will say, hey, 7 are the average when me work with, but may have seven is the average when me weight it. But me will say girls tend to, some women tend to say, hey, if you are not my perfect 10, why are you with me? But the reality is that you put scales on different things, something you'd have fantasize. I mean, most women would want a man, I mean, with a 6-pack, but part of emotional maturity
No,
is
that's just
knowing.
what men think.
All right, me glad say you
That's
hold me
another
that.
problem.
Me glad say you hold me that, Krishana. But guess what, go on now? Part of maturity, you know, is knowing when you have enough, you know.
Yeah.
So there are things where you would really want, you know, but you don't necessarily have to have it, you know.
It's
The
not a
fact
need.
say it's not a need. The fact say you want it, means you necessarily have to have it. So that is why you have things where you're non-negotiables.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
when you talk about non-negotiables now, that come down to things like your values.
Yes.
Like me can talk to an atheist. That's a part of my non-negotiable.
Yeah.
For example. I mean, so yes, so that is why I know. So things like in that case, I mean, she wasn't too buxom. I mean, I don't mind non-negotiable.
Fighting in mercy.
That's the recipe, brother. All right, I tell you.
But you said something, and I think it's important.
Knowing when you have it.
Important point to raise. You know, because I personally think that if you find someone with the basis of what you need, there are certain things, not to change that person, but you can water your grass. You understand? Because if you're always looking for 10, you always are going to think a better out
The
there.
grass not always green.
You go over there and say, spray paint the grass, spray paint, it dry up. So I think that's important, being able to identify your non-negotiables, identify the values that you're looking for, and then using that to say, okay, let's work together to build something or build what we want. And nothing wrong with that. Like nothing wrong for no say, all right, I have an issue with this, but probably need to go sit down and talk to a therapist about it and sort that out with myself. And being able to have that open discourse with each other to say, hey, you know, you really need to work on this, and not taking it as a slight. Because I think also when you have trust in a relationship, any sort of relationship, and you come to me and say, I need to work on something, if I know that you are coming to me with good intentions, you want to see me at my best, then I'm going to take it as that. But that comes from building up trust with the person.
Absolutely.
I absolutely love that point. And again, taking me down memory lane. Again.
I mean, say you're kind of gone a little bit quiet, man.
Are you hearing me?
Yes,
man. No, man, where I say you're kind of, I guess you're a process, but man.
I'm here. I'm taking in the knowledge and the information, because trust me, Krishana is on the ball. Like, I absolutely love that point, being able to understand.
Say you did the audition well for married.
You have to be able to understand that, hey, I have things that I need to work on, and you're coming to your partner at a place of, you know, respect and of growth, and being able to admit that you have flaws. You know, I can personally say I'm coming from somewhere like that. I wouldn't say I was horrible, but me did turn bad.
Terrible.
Terrible.
That is pretty young thing.
Bad. You know, and I had to really look into myself. I don't think without that personal growth would I be married now. You know, unless I want madman decide to take me up and be like, all right, you want the crosses where you come with, and I'm gonna work with it. I had to do some reflection and some development and growth, not necessarily changing your whole personality, but being better. You can always be a better version of yourself. And I
Yep.
think that's what, men and women need to focus on. You don't have to stay one place. You can
So
grow, you
boom,
can
that's
develop,
it.
and you can learn, and just, you know, be up
Better.
there.
You're a
Then
better
there's
person.
nothing wrong with
Better
having
version.
your not
That is
negotiable.
it. I'll have to step away shortly, but that is
Yeah.
it. The fact that just because you are yourself don't mean that somebody need to accept you as yourself. So
Yep.
it's
Mm-hmm.
not
Yep.
that
Yep.
the person don't want you to be yourself. Be yourself by all means, but don't go in with the expectation that when you are yourself, somebody, and that's on both sides of the fence. Don't mean that the person have to take you how you are. And if you see something that you feel like you want to work with and you want to switch it up a little bit and improve on something to get to that point, then that's fair too. No judgment. But don't feel like say you can just be your own self all the time with all the flaws, and some of them some is beyond flaws are things where you
Yeah.
really need
Need
to
to
work
fix.
on, and
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
say somebody need to take that from you. Nobody don't need to put up with nothing where you have to offer. So how can you come all on the market? Let's be honest. So how can
Yes.
you make yourself attractive to other persons if that is what your
Yes.
intention is?
Yep.
Mhm.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Boy, before you run, Christian, and I want to hear before we wrap up because
Right.
I want to ask you this. So a lot of men are a little bit confused in terms of the difference between settling and compromise, and how much should you compromise and to what extent, because if you're over compromising, that means ultimately you're not getting what you want.
Mhm.
So what is the difference between settling and compromising, and how much should you be compromising? I
Okay.
mean, both of you can take it, but
I
make we
can
start
answer
with
this.
Krishana.
I can answer from experience because I've been in a situation where I compromised on a lot of things, and that relationship taught me, same toxic one,
Yeah.
not to settle for certain things because you end up with things in your hand that you never want to hold on. And
Hmm.
so it really goes back to knowing who you are. What are you trying to achieve in your life? Who are you? Without saying, oh, I'm a son, I'm this title at my work. Can you tell somebody who you are as a person? What do you stand for? What are your values? What are you working towards? You know, those things will tell you if the person that you're taking up will fall in line with that. And if you know who you are within yourself, then you shall have no problem in determining what falls in alignment with that. And I tell it to everybody, man, woman, child, pick and my son, we are 10, know what you are about, because everybody have them own agenda, and them agenda will be for you to do things that are not in alignment with what you want for yourself. So if you don't have an
Yep.
agenda for yourself, somebody will provide it for
Yeah.
you.
Create one for you.
Make sure you know, like, building blocks what you want for yourself and what you're willing to accept. What are your non-negotiables? What you're not gonna take from nobody. And once you have that in place, everything else is moot because you have proper alignment when you know what you are stepping towards. If you fall off the track, you know to step right back on. So
Yes.
that for me is the basis of where you need to start when it comes to understanding what you accept and what you don't accept, what you compromise on and what you don't compromise on. So you must know what is non-compromisable for you as a person. So my values, I will not compromise on that. Me not gonna deal with nobody where I gonna tell me for thief and me for cover up for them and things like that. I'm not gonna do it because I'm a woman of integrity. Not do
Not
that.
a ride or die in that
That
sense.
no, you gonna drive off a
No,
cliff.
Bonnie
Me
and
not join
Clyde.
you. So there are certain things that I will stick around for because it comes with the human experience and being alive. But there are some things that I will not take. And I've had those situations even now in my relationship where I have to say, I don't like how you responded to that and don't do it again.
I,
Krishana,
I
about
absolutely, I
how much
absolutely
more
love,
minutes,
I
about how
love
much
that
minutes
response.
you can give away? About how much more?
Oh,
Because me have a couple questions, man, and
I'll
more
say
blood.
question. I'm giving you 5 more minutes.
All right, great. All right. So good. So the next thing now we want to find out where your past is concerned.
Hmm.
See, is it necessary? You're getting into a new relationship. Is it necessary to disclose everything about your past.
So for me,
Everything.
the immediate answer is no. Um, to an extent, because it depends on where you are. I believe in progression. Like you can't just go and like, oh, see me, yeah. Like not everybody needs to know you in an intimate way, and there are certain things about yourself that you don't necessarily go out and broadcast and go tell everybody like, see me, yeah, right? And again, it boils back down to what I said earlier. You have to have some element of trust. Can I trust this person with this information about me? Are they gonna use it as a weapon against me? Because you have to understand, knowledge is power, information is power, information is a very strong currency, right? And can you trust this person with this currency? You know, if would you put this money in this person hand and say, hold on pan it for me, and think say you're gonna come back and see it and then I'm gonna give it back to you. So
Yeah.
it's really important that you have at least some level of trust, especially when you go into more intimate aspects of who you are as a person, because not everyone deserves to know you on a certain level.
All
You have
right.
to protect your space.
So how you determine now what me know from what me no know? Because again, you might believe that some things not important for a listener, no. But but I mean, you might tell me something based on what you tell me say, no, sir, me can't deal with that, Instant me a back out of this totally. Delete settings.
That's
So
fair.
how you determine what you share with me now? Because not because you believe say it no important for you share it with me now. No means say it now go important in my
Yeah.
decision making.
All right, so
So
let me give you
how do you determine what important to me?
let me give you the big four answer. Just like in any organization, you have data classifications, right? You have
Yeah.
some level of data that everybody can know. You have some level of data that only a certain level of people within the organization can know. You have some level of data
Well, I
where
just see the smile
we
on your
don't,
face. Yeah.
it's there. You have some level of data where people at the top of the chain at them alone know, right? And it's the same thing with your life. Now there are certain things that I believe, especially me being a mom, somebody coming into a relationship with me, I have to know I have a son, because that's not compromisable and it's something that has a big sway for certain people. So just meeting somebody, that's something that I'd let them know I have a child, and they have to be, because you have to be open, and that's something that can impact upon another life. So I have to let them know that that's what they're stepping into. But there might be more intimate details about my past, my traumas, things that have happened to me that you necessarily don't necessarily want to share with any and everybody. You want to ensure that you're at least at a certain point in your relationship. So if it's something that can impact upon the person, then yes, I believe it's something that should be shared. But say if yeah, text a girl, Alistair, she might
Yeah.
want to know. So you're blind.
Yeah. No, no, I have to.
Because
Without a
not
doubt, because
everybody will
that is a
protect that
critical
hope. I
part of my
remember this guy
identity.
did not talk to me and he was in a wheelchair.
You
So
serious?
like
And him never
yes, so
share it?
those things important to know. Like, do I want to take up somebody who in a wheelchair? Do I
Ah,
want to take up somebody with an
instead of the
impairment? Like,
option.
because there are things that comes with that. So there are
Exactly.
certain things where you tell persons right off the bat, and there are other data where you really have to get to a certain level of, I could call it the inner sanctuary, for you to be able to have access to that data, because it's something that those data can harm you too. So you have to protect yourself. You have to trust the
Okay.
person to not weaponize that. I mean, it's not hard and fast, and there are some natural progressions, but that's basically how I see it.
You want to add anything, Anissa?
Well, just to piggyback off what Krishana said, basically trust becomes currency. Absolutely love that, because it's a very valuable currency, and you have to think about what happens when somebody ready for exchange that currency, when somebody ready for cash in, should something happen. We have to factor these things in. You're not going in a relationship with the thought that this is gonna end, but you're testing the waters, and you have to know, okay, based off what I've seen, based off observing you, based off our interactions, she's right. Can I trust you with this information? Is this something that you can hold on to, should, worst case scenario, we part ways or something happens? Are you gonna be ready to let loose everything that I've shared with you, and then it becomes detrimental to me. So really, trust is important at all aspects of a relationship, and you have to know when someone moves, as she said, from one classification to the next.
I don't want to get you in no trouble, Anissa.
Ah,
In marriages, everything. I mean, you have boundaries or everything unbridled.
in my marriage, I'm gonna say that there. I'm gonna say everything it's undiluted. To be very
Everything
honest with you,
unbridled.
in my
Yeah,
marriage, everything
Right
is
here,
for
right here.
me, yeah.
yeah, everything is open. I really believe God has blessed me with a husband that is very understanding, very patient. He
Yes.
encourages me to
Also, big up
be,
Yeah.
yourself.
open and honest, and just be vulnerable. That, like, be vulnerable and be
Yeah.
feminine, as and that's something a lot of women, I realize, don't have nowadays. You have to be strong and have a wall. I can safely say I'm able to just let loose and release
Turn on
trauma,
all
as
the
some
settings
persons
there.
would call
What the
it,
settings
and
there?
be
All veil
comfortable.
removed. Everything pop
All
off.
veil removed. No
Yes,
secrets.
Krishan.
No nothing.
It's the same for me. Yeah, I tell you, my husband is my best friend. So,
Right.
at the previous, I got 3 more days to go, but my husband is my best friend.
Woo!
So it's very important to me. Like, we have a relationship
That is another discussion we have to go bring you
Yes.
back pan. Because there's this thing out there, can your partner be your best friend? But we have to bring you
Yes.
back pan that another
Yes.
another time.
definitely.
Yeah, I would
But-
definitely need an episode too.
Anissa, thank you very much for gracing us. Thank you for gracing us with your beautiful presence
Yeah,
on
man.
the Undiluted Corner.
It was a pleasure.
I mean, you have always been intellectually agile, and I know that the knowledge that you have imparted will be of benefit to a lot of men out here and thing. And we also wish you the very best in your union. Me know say it's still young and you have a lot to grow, but yeah, bless up yourself,
Yeah, man.
and we hope you can pass through again. Krishana, I want to also thanks to our other guests. Krishana, she had to left us a little bit early. I mean, boy, it's always amazing reasoning with Krishana, Yeah, man,
Yeah,
very
man.
shrewd,
Two
very
wonderful guests. me I
very
tell you.
poised, centered, immaculate thinking, jeez, full of elegance. The whole works.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
So, Andy, before we jump out, tell the people them where them can find we.
Yeah, guys. So again, we are on YouTube at the Undiluted Corner. You can find us also on Instagram at the_undiluted_corner. That's the_undiluted_corner. And please feel free to reach out to us via email at the undilutedcorner, the number 7@gmail.com.
Undiluted,
Yes,
raw
sir.
truth, real conversations.
Yeah, man.
Out.
Love it.
Take care, Anissa.
Thank you so much, guys.
Thanks for joining us in the Undiluted Corner, where insights abound and perspectives are born. Relationships, health, and wealth, we've explored them all. Until next time, let's continue to stand tall. Subscribe, share, and keep the conversation alive in the Undiluted Corner, where truth thrive until we meet again. Let's keep our hearts light. The Undiluted Corner, shining ever so bright.